All right, welcome to Capecast. We are back doing our third Moon Knight episode review. How's everybody
We're
doing?
men of our word. Just
Yeah.
like last week, we said we were doing it on Thursday, and we did that, and everybody knows that, and that's the story. The end.
How's everybody doing? Britt and Alan, how you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Doing good.
Y'all?
Great.
Yeah. Brandon,
So
good.
good. So
Good.
good. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Mhm.
It's been so long since I talked to
Glad
you.
to be here.
Yeah. Before we get started here, I want to encourage everybody to hit the subscribe button here on YouTube and the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the videos we are putting out. We're on Twitter at Capecast Show, and we have a Patreon, patreon.com/CiNEMACHiNE Pod, and we appreciate all of the support that we get there. As usual, just so everybody knows, this is a full spoilers review.
Spoilers!
So that's your official warning.
Oh yeah.
So we can't be blamed for spoiling anything from here on out.
This time it's not the day of the next episode, so we're good.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 3 is titled "The Friendly Type," directed by Mohammed Diab. The synopsis is with Mark in the forefront and Harrow ahead. Mark and Layla navigate Cairo for intel. All right.
See how it correctly said episode 3 that time?
Yeah. Look at you. Our graphics
proud of it.
guru on top of
Pretty
it.
proud of that one.
All right, let's go around the horn here and give kind of initial thoughts, and then we'll dive into it. I think Brandon, it's your turn to speak first. So go right ahead.
The thing that I was worried about after kind of initially talking about this is starting to ring true more and more. The tone is shifting to things that I'm not as into for this property. Like this one, definitely. I mean, for whatever reason, obviously there's the obvious connective reason here with like, it felt like more in line with the Mummy, Brendan Fraser movies here.
Yeah.
Than I would want it to be tonally. I don't know. I'm just not liking like a lot of this stuff. I feel like it's just, and maybe it's just a lot of the well-lit daylight set pieces in this episode specifically that they just don't feel as like, they feel more shot on the volume or something.
Yeah, it was this episode was very green screeny for me.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Tonally, it had its moments that I enjoy, and I'm enjoying the story, but just some of the execution stuff, I'm like, I wish they could have done this a little different. They try to be a little stylistic, especially in some of the fight scenes, but it's just like, it feels cheap, cheesy.
Because
especially that like
it doesn't like the budget really shows through when they try for those moments too. Like it kind of undercuts what they're trying to do, I think.
Yeah. So it's fine. I'm not uninterested, but it's going down for me.
Yeah. All right, Alan, what you got?
I actually enjoyed this episode more than episode 2. Just, I guess, because it was more Mark focused this go around. So there was a little bit of a tone difference. It wasn't nearly, there was hardly any.
I think I will agree with you,
entire,
Alan.
Yeah.
I think I did enjoy this more than the second episode.
There was almost no humor in this episode versus a lot of humor in the, kind of trying to be Deadpool in the second episode. It was very little humor this go around, which was good because I don't want much of that in this show. So I agree, though. There were issues as far as set pieces and it's hard to pull off that stuff. And I know there were budget issues, for a TV show, and we're not used to that with Marvel. But like I said, I enjoyed it better than episode 2, not as much as episode 1, somewhere in the middle there.
Gotcha. Britt?
Yeah, I think we're probably all on similar pages. Like, definitely love what they're doing with it underneath, but there's a few things like, again, I was expecting, like, with Mark and him being kind of the spy or whatever, like I was expecting maybe we'll get more of a Bourne Identity like feel or something like that of what he actually does and kind of see him. But like the rooftop jumping and running and things like that, it felt more parkour than like Secret Agent.
Yeah.
Parkour.
Yeah. So there's a few things there that definitely I could see them. It could have been a little bit better in that sense, but I'm still enjoying it. Still kind of crossing those fingers, right? Everybody's saying episode 4 is the one that's gonna blow our minds. There was a lot of stuff I liked in this episode, but just like with the others, there was pieces where I'm like, I feel like you could have done that just a little bit better. So
yeah. Once again, I'm a little more negative. I would probably say I didn't like this one. Everything inside the pyramid in this episode, I was like the Khonshu like talking through Oscar Isaac. I was like, what? Like, stop what you're doing. I don't like this. It just was like uncomfortable feeling. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I was kind of viewing this like every episode. I feel like they're getting further and further from what I was expecting. Like, I was expecting this to be like gritty and dark in the first episode, and I saw, I'm like, okay, maybe, second episode, that's definitely not happening. I was also expecting this show to be very like street level. I mean, everybody's already talking about like equating it to maybe team ups with Daredevil and that kind of thing. And like all of a sudden we're on like a globe-trotting adventure, and I'm like, what's that? I don't know. And then the production value stuff, there's just so much, like as I watch these episodes, there's so much that just like takes me out of the, like I'll like kind of like spend 5 minutes and I'll kind of like get back into it, and then something happens where I'm just like in this one, when the eclipse happens and like everything's dark, and then they cut to Oscar Isaac's character and it's all sunny again outside for a second. I'm like, is there an eclipse outside or not? Like, what
there's a lot of weirdness, like even how Moon Knight is revealed in that sequence towards the end at the mansion or whatever with the pyramids. He just kind of it jumps from him being on the ground to him being on top of the pyramid just in an instant.
I don't understand the rules about who's controlling, because like they're all like, he's always worried about not being able to get the body back, but yet whenever there's a dire situation, he's able to like break through and save Steven.
Lots
like,
of
I don't
convenient shiny surfaces everywhere too.
I that was one thing too when he was walking through the halls in the pyramid. I was like, I feel like we're like starting to kind of like overplay that hand a little bit.
That reminded me of the Loki scene in one of the I guess it was the original Avengers, where he's kind of like possessing the Doctor, and when he walks by the shiny wall or mirror or whatever, you see Loki in there. Kind of reminded me of that as a throwback.
Did anybody else feel weird about the Oscar Isaac Khonshu?
For me,
not great.
All the other avatars seemed to have no issue with it, and he did. So it was kind of jarring on that front. Maybe they had experienced it before. So
I felt like he was like, I felt like he had like kidney stones or something.
It seemed like he was trying to fight it. Giving to it or whatever. But even that though, I don't know. Like, I have many hangups with the Khonshu stuff just because I don't like the voiceover at all. I'm just like, it's just so jarring. And then I feel bad for Oscar Isaac because I'm like, he's trying his best to do this, and it just is not.
Honestly, Ethan Hawke's character stands out more than Oscar Isaac's does for me so far on this show.
I think so too.
Well, I think with that scene, right, they try to set it up at first with the other avatar kind of saying like, hey, it's going to be weird, right, when it happens, so just kind of go with the flow. But the thing that kind of kept putting me out of that scene that I didn't like was how different it was when he was talking. But if you look at all the other avatars, like they keep their same voice, they keep their same whatever, right? Like but when he's doing it, and to Brandon's point, maybe it's him fighting back, but like it just did feel totally different in how his body was being taken over, whereas everybody else, like nothing really changed outside of like their eyes, right? Like when they went into their possessed kind of states or whatever. But then even, I mean, I guess with, you know, the other guy, like maybe he's not fully possessed. I don't know, but like his looks weird when he comes in the avatar because he never shifts whatsoever with anything he does. So yeah, I did think that was probably one of the worst parts of the episode to me. Just it felt awkward. It didn't even feel like it made a lot of sense.
That was the worst part of the show so far for me. I did not like that whole sequence.
I get what they were trying to do with that.
Yeah.
You know, I just why would it be so hard for them to believe? I mean, these are gods. You know what I mean? Why would it be so hard for them to believe that Haro is trying to bring her back? You know what I mean? Why was they didn't even want to hear that for like a split second.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know.
Because it does seem like the other god is in the same position as Khonshu, I guess, at this point, which we'll talk about later. But it seems like this other god's also trapped in stone, and they would have put her in stone for a certain reason or something. So yeah, I think that is kind of strange that they're like, oh yeah, this other one that we, you know, trapped away, somebody's trying to go after. No, that's fine. They're not, but their avatar's still around. So
he's just in the desert for no reason. Like I mean, that part right there didn't make any sense.
When like all the sky is like freaking out, and they show like the city, and everybody's just kind of like looking up, like they're looking at like the northern lights. Like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah,
like, how are you guys not freaking out right now?
yeah.
Now from Moon Knight and Khonshu's point, or Mr. Knight and Khonshu's point of view, that was actually a really cool shot. I liked that. I just didn't like everybody else's reaction to it. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know that all that.
I like
stuff,
what he was trying to do.
I was just expecting this to be even in the trailer again. Like this all felt very like street level, and we're on this like globe trotting thing now. I don't know. It's not what I was expecting.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. So, like, kind of going off that point of the skies. So, you know, with Khonshu being over the moon, and we saw the eclipse, and then we saw this big like reversal of time, essentially. So he's, you know, turning back time 2,000 years so they could figure out exactly how the stars lined up and all of that. But what I find interesting, which may be a thing in the future episodes, is so he rewound time to look at the stars, and then he was turned to stone while he was doing it, meaning he never reversed it back. So the question is, like, what did we just do with time, with the universe, with any of that? Like, is that going to be a thing, or is that just going to be overlooked of like, oh, he just looked at the stars and that was it? You know what I mean?
I kind of get the vibe it's going to be.
Yeah, they'll kind of glaze over that, you know, but because I know that Mark was struggling
it was so weird to me too. She's like holding this iPad, like the sky's freaking out. She's like, "Yep, that's it. It's working." It's like, what are you even like? What's happening right now?
I don't think he's turning back time. I think he's just it's a visual
lighting the stars.
It's his memory of the stars, and because her iPad wouldn't
where
work.
Everybody else is seeing
if her iPad is relying on, I mean, maybe I'm thinking too hard on this, but it's like GPS coordinates and all that kind of stuff. Like it wouldn't even work. I don't think.
I'm not even expecting. I don't necessarily think he means like rewinding time as much as like everything, like all of the sky and everything is being shifted back to.
Yeah. So like you're changing what the alignment of the Earth was for 2,000 years ago. So there's going to be a lot of potential. I mean, again, it could just be ignored, but
you know,
a lot of
again, I don't think it's a literal. I think it's just like.
But then how does
just a visual thing?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I feel like it's not just because everybody was looking at it.
Here's the thing, though, Britt.
GPS was doing it.
Thing. That's you're probably right, because that's what's going to be the big thing on episode 4. Oh, we're in time. We're back in time so many years ago.
I mean,
It's teed up,
Yeah, man.
guys. It's teed up.
we're gonna see Iron Man come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He's back alive.
Yeah.
Just
or
reversing it. I don't know.
the tides are all screwed up. There's tsunamis everywhere. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
have like
Outwalks
we're gonna
Jason
have like
Momoa.
we're gonna have like
Crossover.
we're gonna have like 2012 scenes. You know, the Statue of
Yeah.
Liberty's frosted over, and you know,
Roland Emmerich.
I don't know. It's
Directed by Roland Emmerich.
It just seems like if it was just them kind of like imagining it, I just don't feel like everybody would have been getting out of their cars to look at the sky, and or again, way she's using her laptop, like it's finding those star patterns. So it had to have been actually happening for that to happen. But it may not mean anything. It may just be
I think what I'm
we
saying
did this
is
to get it,
the
you know.
visual representation is obviously happening, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
like a linear like rewind of time itself.
yeah, like it wasn't like Superman 2. The people weren't moving backwards and stuff like that. You know, it was just
Right.
it was just the sky.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
We didn't go that terrible. You know.
What do you
it'll
guys
be
think
interesting.
about the actual
If any of
like
that matters.
how the whole fight sequence was staged at the little rodeo or what, like
Circus
whatever
thing.
the
Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil.
it felt
yeah.
so it's such a weird set piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did.
There were parts of it that I liked. And there were parts that I didn't like. So apparently, Mark's suit, when he summons his suit, the Mr. Knight suit, it's not invincible.
armor.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not armored, I guess, so he can get stabbed.
Mm.
But so
Well,
there was some of that was weird because I assumed he got the powers so that he'd
Well,
have
I think he gets to be stabbed because even with the other suit, like he still had the pulse through him, but he has healing, so he has like super healing, which Khonshu mentions of like, oh well, if you didn't have these powers, how would you survive? You know, without my healing or whatever. So I think there's that aspect of it. So because
I just figured I was kind of with Alan. I
both
figured
weird
it was kind of like the suit, like the actual suit, Mr. Knight was just like Steven's. I don't know, like in his mind, that's what the visual representation of the armor.
Yeah.
But and all the powers were the same. It was just I don't know, but I
Mhm.
guess that's not the case.
And that's something too, the whole Mr. Knight thing and what we talked about last on the last
There was another
review was
Mr. Knight moment on this one. It was in that fight, I think, where I was just like,
it was like, whoa, everybody, time out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Chill the F
callback.
out.
yeah, chill the F out.
Yeah. But
It's
like,
it's a callback to Star-Lord. So Star-Lord does that exact same thing in Infinity War or Endgame. I can't remember which one it was.
You think it's actually a callback or just a coincidence?
It's word for word the same thing.
it's
So-
lazy writing on Marvel's
Yeah.
part.
I think if you go back and watch a lot of this, I think it's like you've got fanboys doing some of the writing of Marvel and the MCU because there's a lot of lines. So there's that, and then there's going back to Layla at the very beginning when she's getting the passport and all of that, and she talks about the fact that she steals items, but she doesn't steal them because they're already stolen. It's the same thing that Killmonger says when he's in the museum with
Love that scene.
yeah, because
Looking at the
he's like, I'm not
artifacts.
stealing it. Yeah, he's like, I'm not stealing this because it's mine. It belongs to me or it belongs to us or whatever. So like, it was stolen from them. So I
What are
think
we
there's a
supposed to
lot of
glean
those.
from that because that cold opening. I don't think they've had one yet, right? I think wasn't that the first cold
Yeah.
opening of this series?
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Is it
I
just that
think
her dad was
story. Yeah,
some sort
I think
of-
I think either Moon Knight killed her father or knows who did. So
That's
because
what I
then
was
later
gonna
in the
say.
episode they talk
Yeah,
about
they do have that
like
conversation.
yeah.
Yeah.
And was it Harrow that mentioned something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mark definitely had something to do with it. I just
Yeah, it definitely seems that way.
you know, but
Yeah, so
I don't know.
I think it's that, and I think it's
I don't
to
know.
tell you, like, well, I think it's to also tell you like how she wasn't able to go to Egypt even though she's from there, like because she was stealing those artifacts. So I think it's like just a setup of kind of her character and a little bit of the backstory that maybe we'll see in
yeah,
I don't know
It would've-
episode 5 or something.
it did help explain some of the stuff at the weird Cirque du Soleil pyramid thing that was going on. That she knew those guys, and they all had like mistrust in her. So you know, evidently, she had stolen some or tried to steal something from them at some point in time, or for them, maybe. I don't know. But I guess without that, we would have been a little lost in that scenario. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, I still liked it. I still liked it better than the second episode, but
I need some of this, you know.
Yeah, that's why episodes 4 is for, man. They gotta lure us in around. But kind of going back to that fight scene, so you guys kind of mentioned it felt a little out of place and things like that. The other guy that was in the red shirt and all that, like, I don't know if you guys know, but he actually passed away a few months before the show actually aired from like a skiing accident. But his character is actually a Moon Knight villain called Midnight Man. So I guess they're probably not going to do anything with it now, but I think that there's more to that character that kind of describes about that scene. But the thing is, like, I think Moon Knight is one of those series like we're getting into where not many people know about it or know of it. I only know these things because I go and Google half the stuff after the show. But I think that that's where we'll, you know, a lot of these things are kind of passed over, looked over because people just don't know.
Yeah,
he kind of villains and stuff.
He reminded me of the Viper from Game of Thrones, from Pedro Pascal's
Mm-hmm.
I got that feel, but
yeah,
I did know that he had passed away. I saw at the end they had an in memory of thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Way to bring it down, Britt.
Well, I mean, Britt was saying, I mean, they won't do anything with him. Marvel will recast people that are alive, but they will not recast people that die. So they're not going to do that.
Yeah, the way this show's going, I feel like it's just going to be a one and done.
I think it's probably a setup show to, if I had to guess, I think Disney Plus is going towards what they did with Netflix, and I think we'll see team up series eventually. You'll see a lot of crossover, and that's what I foresee this. I don't really see a second season. I see it more of a teaming up with someone else later.
I would love, and I still, because it's Oscar Isaac and his potential as an actor, I would still love to see like a Midnight Suns, thing with Ghost Rider and Blade and him and Daredevil. That would be cool.
You could get Kit Harington with the Black Knight.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot of potential within there.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I don't know. Oscar Isaac seemed to indicate that, or somewhere I saw that it indicated that he didn't sign on for multiple projects like most of these Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that depending on how this series plays out.
Yeah,
I would imagine it was more monetary for him more than it was anything. He wants to see, once this series is over, if it's a big enough hit, then he would have lost money by signing early.
Too, I saw something where like his son was really into it or something, and it's one of those situations where you like just want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's good to see.
Be into. Yeah.
And
we should have, when he said that, we should have gotten an indication that this was not going to be the thing that we wanted.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's just one of those things. And I think First Kid, it was just more of him being in the MCU, right? Which is what we've heard from a lot of stars recently of, oh, they want me to be Marvel, and all their kids love Marvel stuff. But that's why I don't foresee really a second season. I see it being a team up. So it's not a sign on for, hey, 5 years from now, we'll bring you back for whatever. But it's, 2-3 years from now, after we've run our other series and whatever, you'll show back up.
Yeah. And playing off the kid thing, I will say that I might enjoy the show more because Cal enjoys the heck out of the show, and I kind of feed off of that energy when he's having fun and he's like, "Oh my God, Dad, did you see that?" It kind of brings me into it a little more, I guess, than I would be if I was sitting and watching it by myself.
Yeah.
Totally.
So Ryan, just give it a few more years. Diane, I'll have you suck
but here's the thing. Every time, with the exception of Alan, because it seems to be a consistent thing for him, but every time that people generally watch a movie and they're like, it wasn't great or anything. My kid really loved it though, so maybe that's something. It's always an excuse for it not being that great. But I don't know.
Can
Yeah.
be.
I don't know.
Can be.
Yeah. Now I will say Cal also likes Justice League. So yeah. Yeah. But he doesn't bring me into it. When he enjoys it, I don't enjoy it with him.
I think it's time for you to legally change his name.
Well, I actually, we were cleaning up a while back and I picked it up and I was going to throw it in the trash. And Cal said, whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you doing?
Should have pulled the dad card.
This is for your own
Not
good.
in my house.
This is hurting me more than it hurts you.
So
One thing that I will say that I did like was having it do flip flop in terms of having, it had you following Mark's progression and then he would like phase out and then he'd wake up in a different scenario. I didn't think it was as effective as how they used it with Steven, but it was cool that they did that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where this show, like some of the letting you figure the things out on your own has been more effective than the things they've shown you. That makes any sense. Like some of the like intensity.
Yeah.
And here's the one thing. Here's the one thing with that. So I had to go back and look this up because again, I know Moon Knight at a very high level. But if you guys remember when he came back in, and there was, he had the knife in the person and all that, and he was like, Steven, what did you do? And Steven was like, it wasn't me. So essentially, we've got a third personality. And after doing a little bit of research, that is Jake Lockley is another personality that's a gritty cab driver, is on the streets to get information to help them kind of solve their stuff. And, now going back and seeing some like highlight clips, I'm noticing now when he looks at mirrors, there's usually three other bodies. So it's him plus three that he's looking at. And I just assumed that third one was, Khonshu or Moon Knight being that personality or whatever. But essentially, that's what may be the big thing on episode 4 is now we learn who this more violent person is, which could be the same person that like had the scare of that one time where, woke back up and there was bloody people everywhere. And it was that personality and not Mark.
Yeah, because even earlier on when Steven was confronting Mark about the violence, Mark was like, it's not what you think, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So maybe because he doesn't know how it happened, maybe that. But the first issue, like issue number 1 of Moon Knight, there are 3 characters there. You have the Mark, and he's got like the smoking jacket, looking like he's rich. Mm-hmm. And then there was a guy there that I guess it's likely he had the look like the cabbie, hat on, on the cover. So yeah, I knew there was a third. I just didn't know who he was. So
yeah.
Well, so that's going to be the episode, the big 4, the reveal of Jake set 30 centuries in the past.
Old cabbie, cabbie Jake.
So
we figured it out.
You heard it here first, folks.
But I think it's just one of those, like hearing that when we were watching it, because I was watching McKellar, I was like, oh, okay. So that's going to be something that we dive into. And I think it'll add to it. I mean, I'm excited about the next one because the other side about the next one, he's not going to have his powers. So Khonshu now kind of getting into the wrap up of the end of the episode, right? Khonshu's now in stone. So the council put him in stone because he did all that with the sky, and he's essentially, they just don't want people to know about the gods because of that. So now with that happening, he doesn't have his powers anymore. And that's pretty much what Khonshu said earlier in the episode, where he said, you wouldn't survive without my powers. So now it's going to be interesting in episode 4 because he's going to have to do the whole hero lost their powers, thing that they do with every movie.
Every video game sequel.
Yeah.
You get stripped of your powers and you got to get them back at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
At least in God of War, they do that every single game.
Yeah. I know. I noticed where Khonshu had told, Steven, tell Mark to find me or rescue me or whatever it was, And I was thinking when he said that, I was like, dude, Steven is the reason you guys were even remotely close to finding, anything at any point. Steven's definitely more the detective in this thing. So I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
How many episodes? 6?
6 episodes.
We're halfway there, guys.
We're halfway there. All right,
right,
Brandon.
we
We
can
can't
do it.
we can't do 4 and
You
5
finish
and then
this,
just
Brandon.
drop
You
off.
can finish
Gotta
this.
get all the way through.
You didn't have me here before, Brandon. You can lean on me. I'll keep you going, buddy.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right,
I'll do it.
Dad.
I'll do it, Alan.
You got it, buddy. You got this. I believe in you.
All right. Anything else, or should we jet until till episode 4, the mythical
big one.
episode
The
4?
big
That's
one.
it.
The next step.
That's the big one.
The big
That's
one.
it.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all I got.
Good.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube and notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the videos we're putting out. We are on Twitter at Capecast Show, and we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/CiNEMACHiNE. Appreciate all the support that we get there. Britt, you wanna plug your stuff
Yeah.
you got going on?
Sure. So if you want to check us out over on YouTube or Twitch, I stream over there Mondays and Wednesdays. We do a lot of Disney stuff. We got a new Disney game coming out called Mirrorverse. It's got some really cool artwork, things like that. We got the Todd McFarlane figures right back there that they're putting out for the game and stuff. But if you want to check that out, twitch.tv/defaultdan or YouTube/defaultdan, putting over the videos there. Should have the unboxing video of those two guys later this weekend. But yeah.
Britt's got a heck of a production, so it's worth checking out.
It's interesting because we happened to get a follow today from a default Dan.
You did.
Yeah,
You did. I didn't. So I have like
we finally
four-
earned it, huh?
4 accounts. I have 4
Brett.
accounts. I'm following you on my other 2 on my normal phones,
Mhm.
but I have to be on the computer. And notice I wasn't following. So just like me, if you guys aren't following, click the button. Make sure to
Nice.
follow.
We appreciate it. We're trying to get them subs up.
We're riding
That's
Britt's
the name of the
coattail.
game.
Riding Britt's
riding Britt's
coattails all the way.
All right, guys. Until next week, fellas. Later on.
See ya.
Yeah.